So please, honestly, parents, just stop buying all those things for your kids and hide all of your skincare from them, because we want to keep it.
They actually still sell that apricot scrub. Like, that thing should be banned.
A lot of companies have a lot to answer for, especially at the moment, because they really are targeting that. And I think it's really, I love seeing and hearing people like yourself who are educating people and creating their own lines to combat this.
The interesting thing that most people don't realize about melasma, and it's more so because I've been going through it, it's like, I go outside, I don't spend a lot of time in the sun, but I was noticing it getting darker.
I never really had bad skin, but I used to get like maybe one giant one on my forehead. But I'd be peeling like layers of skin off of my face, and that mixed with apricot's scent. Hey, I'm Beck, dermal therapist, makeup artist, and host of Your Glow Code, the podcast where we talk all things skin, health, confidence, and living your glowiest life. Hit that subscribe button and give us a like, and leave us a comment below. It helps more than you know. And now for today's episode. Hello and welcome back to Skinfully You. Today we are joined by the beautiful Samantha Dench, a licensed esthetician since 2003 and established Skin Deep Aesthetics in 2010 and is now turning that into a med spa. Beyond surface beauty, Samantha is dedicated to enhancing internal health to achieve radiant skin by addressing underlying issues. Recognizing that our skin reflects internal well-being, Samantha is passionate about helping clients take control of their skin. Her commitment extends to educating and empowering women to understand their skin, streamline their routines, and embrace the reflection in the mirror. As the founder of Zozo Skin, a skincare line for tweens, Samantha was inspired to create safe alternatives after discovering her daughter and friends using harmful products. As a mum and an esthetician, Samantha took action to guide the younger generation in making informed skincare choices amid social media influencers. Hi, Samantha. How are you?
Hi, Beck. Good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Very good. Thank you so much for joining us today. So before we dive too deep into your philosophy of how you treat skin in your skin clinic, I would love to talk about Zozo and tweens and teenagers and skincare. And this whole social media marketing towards them, that's just, we're going to see so many problems down the track. Can you tell us what led you to this journey and your thoughts on all of these things?
So actually I was in the process of creating a skincare line for my company, and I've been working with a chemist. And when I finally got some samples from the lab, my daughter's sitting right next to me and she's like, oh, skincare. And she started like grabbing everything. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, what does she know about skincare? And then she started telling me about what they've been learning on TikTok and social media. And so, being the curious esthetician I am, I start flipping through and scrolling through, and I'm like, my jaw's on the floor at this point. I'm like, oh my goodness, something has to be done. I'm like, because these kids are hurting their skin. I'm like, there's no reason they should be putting like retinol or glycolic on their skin.
And that led you to creating Zozo and having no harmful products and things like that, and ingredients in those skincare. It baffles me how much information is out there these days, and that the clients are so well educated, but teenagers using things like glycolic and retinol and acids and all these things, their skin's not fully formed yet, and we're going to see so many problems down the track. If you were to tell a parent or something who was taking their child off to Sephora or somewhere, or seeing them using skincare and regurgitating things from TikTok, what advice would you give to them?
I give a lot of advice, but the kids, I feel like nowadays rule. But the biggest issue I have is that, first of all, there's no reason to spend that much money on a kid, especially when it comes to skincare. And second of all, it's like their skin is already doing what all of these products are trying to force it to do, because they're so young and they have healthy skin and cell turnover, and, their oil's starting to produce. So it's like, basically what I tell parents is, I'm like, okay, your skin's turning over at a normal rate. I said, if you put something on it that's that's aggressive, like an acid, I said, you're going to accelerate the aging process for these kids. So then they kind of look at me like, wait, what? I'm like, yeah, your kids are actually going to age faster. So
that's huge. And I've been, especially living in this age where, that's a double whammy on the word age there, but in this day and age of not so much anti-aging, but aging gracefully. No one wants to speed that up. We want to slow that down.
Right.
So can you explain then a little bit, like for someone who would never have understood that sort of cellular turnover, especially in a child, how they might increase his aging rate by using things that their mother is using in those glycolics and those retinols?
So yeah, when we're young, our skin cells turn over because our skin replaces itself every 28 days. So somebody young, every 28 days, they're getting brand new skin cells. As we age, cell turnover slows down. So it could be like 6 weeks, 8 weeks. The older we get, it could be like 3 months. So that's why glycolics or exfoliants or retinols or any of these acids are good, because it increases cell turnover in sluggish skin. So it's actually getting our skin to do what it's supposed to do at a normal rate. And that's what helps slow down the aging process for adults. But again, like I also feel like 20-year-olds shouldn't be using these products either, because their skin is still so young. So it's like this stuff really shouldn't be started till like your mid to late 30s. So which is when cell turnover really starts to slow down.
The sad fact of actually getting older.
I know.
It's not, it happens to all of us, but it's not fun.
I know. Right?
Absolutely. I think a lot of companies have a lot to answer for, especially at the moment, because they really are targeting that. And I think it's really, I love seeing and hearing people like yourself who are educating people and creating their own lines to combat this, so that because these girls and boys are going to come into our clinics in 10, 15 years with so many problems, and they don't see that right now. So we want to mitigate that. I mean, it's more work for us, but we still want to mitigate that, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the products that you have got for your tweens in the Zozo line.
Yeah, it's simple. It's a cleanser and a moisturizer, because that's all they need. So
perfect.
At some point I want to bring in an SPF, but that's actually a little bit harder to formulate. So for now it's just a cleanser and a moisturizer.
Amazing. And it is really absolutely that basic. It is just, any skincare routine really just needs to start with cleansing and moisturizing, even as an adult, I think. But obviously we want the extra help, but kids just trying to get them to understand that it is huge.
I know. They want to do it all because they want to be like us. I remember being a kid just being like, I want to be a grown-up. And then when you're a kid, you're like, I want to do skincare like a grown-up. And then when you're a grown-up, you're like, I wish it was that simple.
I know. I just think about all those times where I was like, I just wanted to be a grown-up. And now I'm like, I look at the younger girls and I go, but your skin is so beautiful. And the youth that
I know.
We just totally did not appreciate.
No. And we didn't.
We totally didn't. We absolutely didn't.
No.
And yet here we are. And I think that's probably why we've become estheticians, or where I live in Australia and New Zealand is we're dermal therapists, but it's the same thing. But I think it's all of that. I mean, I used to use Proactive when it first came out, and I used to be able to peel. I just remember saying, maybe I never really had bad skin, but I used to get like maybe one giant one on my forehead, but I'd be peeling like layers of skin off of my face, and that mixed with apricot's St. Ives scrub, I'm just trying to reverse all of that damage.
I know.
And that's what we don't want kids to do today.
Right. Exactly. Yep. I know. I can't believe they actually still sell that apricot scrub. Like, that thing should be banned.
It should totally be banned. I completely agree. So let's now that we've educated everybody on that. So please, honestly, parents, just stop buying all those things for your kids and hide all of your skincare from them, because we want to keep it, but we don't want our kids to be using it, or at least get them the Zozo cleanser and moisturizer so they can feel like they're part of that.
Right.
But let's talk now. I know that you take a really big internal approach to healing skin and treating the root cause. So tell us a little bit about your philosophy behind your clinic and how you like to approach treating skin.
Yeah. And it started with my own journey, which it's funny because a lot of estheticians I know, they became estheticians because they had bad skin. I became an esthetician, and then when I went off birth control, then I had bad skin. And so I thought it was hormonal because every time I was pregnant, my skin was clear. And then after my daughter, I had back-to-back pregnancies and I had a lot of baby weight to lose. My skin was really bad at the time. And a friend of mine was like, oh, you should try this gut cleanse. You'll drop the baby weight. You'll feel really good. I was like, okay. It was 2 weeks, no big deal. But it was interesting because I got out all those inflammatory foods, and within a week, my skin was like completely clear. And it was like, wait, what's going on? so then I started eating the foods again and my skin started breaking out. And I was like, and like, that's really interesting. So, since then I've kind of been doing a lot of research, and even my acne clients, like even rosacea,
Yes.
Any kind of inflammatory skin condition, I would say most of it starts from the gut health. So it's like the foods we're eating impacts our hormones, impacts our skin. It impacts everything. So
It does.
that's kind of my philosophy when clients come in.
Treating from the inside out. Our gut is our second brain completely. And I think so many people, we know this, but it's like, yeah, I know that, but they don't do anything about it. And even like yourself, you're saying like going through that cleanse and going, oh, I've got really great skin, and then starting to eat the foods again. So many people I know go through that cycle so often. And I sit there and I go, but, like, you're eating the food. I've got one friend, and I'm trying to, she goes, yeah, but I'm like, she gets these little rash things. And I'm like, every day I see her with packets of chicken chips. And I'm like, until you stop eating that, it's not going to get any better. I can't do any more for you.
I know. That's what I tell clients, especially with acne or like rosacea. I'm like, I can support your skin, but you have to do the work.
100%.
Because there's only so much we can do.
Exactly right. And I think we in clinic, it's like going to the gym and eating you can't go to the gym and eat McDonald's and expect to lose the weight. You can't come and get a professional treatment and then not do the stuff at home to have good skin. So, and that goes for aging and for acne, I would say, definitely. So in your clinic, what's one of the main skin concerns that you see?
I would say aging now. I mean, I do a lot of acne, but I feel like aging kind of is becoming more and more popular.
Yeah, definitely. And do you take a similar approach with aging clients and things in your clinic? Yep.
Yeah. And everything I do, I mean, we just kind of, we're in Chicago and in Illinois. We can't do peels, dermaplaning, microneedling, or any of that without a doctor. So we just kind of switched over to like medspa just to be able to bring in some of those treatments. But I feel like I do the BioRePeel. So it's a great chemical peel, but it doesn't like irritate, burn the skin. There's no redness, no downtime. Same thing with the microchanneling that we do. It gives the same results as microneedling. It's just no downtime. So it's like I still have that holistic approach with a medical twist to it.
Oh, I really love how technology in skin has come so far that we have like the BioRePeel and the microchanneling, because we are a generation of like instant gratification. We want it and we want it now, but we don't want the downtime and things like your CO2 lasers and things. They're great. You've got to spend weeks at home and no sunshine. And I mean, I've been to Chicago in summer, and I wouldn't want to do the winter. It would be too much for me.
Right.
But in the summer, and it's the same, the heat and the sun, you can't do those treatments and go outside. So
exactly.
Tell me a little bit more then about, or could you explain a little bit more about how things like the BioRePeel and the microchanneling work and things like that, just to give everyone an idea?
Yeah. So the BioRePeel, it's like oil and water, whereas like your traditional chemical peel, it's just water-based. So it dehydrates the skin, it draws water out, and it also lowers your skin's pH, which causes the peeling. Whereas like the BioRePeel, it almost like creates like this film on top of the skin where like the product can get into the skin and it stimulates cell turnover.
Amazing.
So again, kind of like what we talked about earlier with like the retinols and the glycolics, it's just speeding everything up. So that's how it slows down aging.
Amazing. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I think we are also, the other thing that's happening now is too, we are in that age of hydration and keeping our skin barrier intact, and not that dehydration and that constant stripping that proactive and St. Apricot scrub used.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly right.
Yeah. We've come a long way.
We absolutely certainly have. Yeah. We definitely have. So do you, when you are treating your clients internally and things, well, with your sort of holistic approach, do you give them guidelines on sort of foods and what gut health and supplements and things they can take? I know obviously there is, even here, there is sort of guidelines that we have to be outsourced to doctors and things, but we can tell people that like omegas and your gut cleansers and the types of foods you're eating are right. Do you have things like that in place in your clinic?
So I usually just give suggestions because we're not allowed to give any nutrition advice. If somebody does have like a problem, I do refer them to like a naturopathic doctor or functional medicine doctor. But what I like to do with clients is kind of help them figure it out themselves. So I have them start a food journal, write down everything they ate for 30 days. And then I also have them write down the condition of their skin. So that way they can track, like, I broke out, I had a really bad flare up this day. Okay, I ate this. This day my skin was clear. So it's like you can kind of evaluate yourself, and from there it's like, okay, now I want you to start eliminating these foods, or kind of say, it would probably be helpful if you eliminated it, and so, and I could also tell them, like, hey, I have a naturopathic doctor that I work with, if you need a referral, I'm happy, because they can also test their hormones in a way that like a normal MD can't, because I feel like there's so many variations, especially with estrogen, that it's like a doctor will treat for like one form of estrogen, but like a naturopath will test for all the forms and kind of really hone in on where that hormonal imbalance is. So
I think that is so important. And I think this is an international problem, is that, especially for women, because we've got 4 weeks of cycle and our hormones are different every 4 weeks, every week of those 4 weeks. And then obviously as we have puberty, and then we get older and we have children, and then we go through perimenopause and menopause, I think the traditional route of just an MD, like a doctor just going, okay, we'll just test for that, it's outdated and it doesn't help us. The ability to refer to a naturopath is incredible, because we can treat and we can find out exactly what's going on. I know so many people over here, we work hand in hand with a naturopath so that we can have that holistic kind of treatment. And then that comes down to like lifestyle choices as well. I think things like that definitely impact our clients with acne and with aging. Are there things that you would recommend in terms of lifestyle choices for someone battling any skin concern or just wanting good skin health?
But I would, diet's number one. I always tell them, I'm like, you got to cut out the sugar. You got to cut out the coffees. That's another one. It's like, we're so addicted to our sugary coffees. It's like, not only are you spending tons of money on those coffees, but it's like the amount of sugar in them is destroying your body and your skin. Obviously drinking water is important, taking vitamins, probiotics, and just being mindful of what you're putting in your body, your stress, everything. So.
Definitely. I think we really also underestimate how stress and sleep and what we're putting into our bodies can affect our skin. And it's the same thing as that gut cleanse, is our skin is that organ going, hey, something is not right.
Exactly.
Definitely. I mean, I know for myself, if I don't sleep properly for a few nights, I will look in the mirror and be like, who is that haggard thing staring back at me? And the water and just drinking and eating correctly and things like that. Definitely.
Right.
And so what skincare lines do you use in your clinic aside from obviously Zozo for the teens? What ones do you use?
I use Isden, and then I use the Nelly Diffuse.
Oh, lovely.
So I like the European lines just because I feel like they don't have as many filler ingredients. They're a lot cleaner than the US.
Yes, I think the US is advanced in so many ways, but when it comes to the FDA and all of the ingredients that are still allowed in products, it's so far to come. And that also extends to the SPF that you would like to develop. I think Europeans and even like Korean and Japanese skin SPFs are so far advanced compared to what you can get in the States. Definitely.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think, will you look at outsourcing potentially for those kind of things, or just try and hope that the FDA comes along?
Yeah. I'm not there right now. I just switched over this medical spa, so it's like there's a lot of moving parts.
And how are you balancing yourself and life? You're a mother, you are a business owner, you have so much life stuff going on. How would you, to women, then try and teach them or tell them to find that balance, or are you still trying to figure that out yourself?
I'm trying to figure that out myself. I have no balance. I get up early to try and get work done, and then it's like the kids are up, and then it's I just feel they're in that like tween age, so I feel like it's just busy right now.
Definitely. I think that's really hard, and I think we, especially as estheticians, we want to help people all the time. And I don't know if you're the same as me. I'll go out and I'll be looking at someone and be like, I can help you.
I know. And you don't want to say it.
No, you don't. But then when we have clients and obviously extending the business and things, it is a non-stop journey, and because it's done out of love and care for people, finding that balance can be really hard. And I think we
Right.
need to find that own internal balance of ourselves, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And have
Yeah.
you, in your skin journey, have you had any other skin issues that you have felt come up since, like, obviously pregnancy brings in so many other skin conditions, like a lot of women get melasma and things. Have you experienced that or seen a lot of women with that?
I have. I'm actually dealing with melasma, but it didn't start until I was in my 40s. So now I'm trying to figure out ways to, lighten it. And I've been using some stuff that's finally starting to help, but it was pretty bad there for a while.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's hard. And I think we forget that so much stuff like that can flare up so much later in our lives. And a lot of it's disconcerting for us as we get to that point, isn't it? Definitely.
Yeah, it is. Because it's like, my skin should be good. It's like, do all the right things. Like, why is it freaking out?
I know. And that's, again, it's just the body going, hey, something is not, it's not functioning quite right inside, or there is a condition. It's genetics. It's just so many different things. What advice sorry, you go.
I was just saying, the interesting thing that most people don't realize about melasma, and it's more so because I've been going through it. It's like, I go outside. I don't spend a lot of time in the sun, but I was noticing it getting darker, and I take baths at night, and I stopped taking baths and it lightened up. I was like, so it's not just the sun, it's the heat. And that's what triggers the inflammation and makes it darker. So like, anybody with melasma should not be doing laser treatments. They shouldn't be in saunas. They shouldn't be doing like excessive exercise or putting themselves in a situation where there's too much heat, because that can trigger that sort of inflammation in the skin. So
I love that. I think that comes down to those lifestyle choices that so many people don't understand affects the skin. And I think the more that people like yourself, and we can tell people it's not just the sun, because people they go, okay, pregnancy and sun, melasma. Like you said, the heat and understanding all of those things. Definitely. Definitely. Yeah. Do you have any other advice then in terms of that, like for skin, a woman going through those changes, about handling themselves and that self-esteem and just daily habits or research or seeking out a professional?
I do try to help them, topically. I always offer like lifestyle, like same thing, the bath thing I just kind of figured out like a couple months ago. I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't do this anymore. So, but it's just, I feel like it's all about just education and, helping people understand, like, it's not just about going in the sun. It's about, the heat. It's about the lifestyle. It's about, how are you taking care of yourself? And I also feel like for me, because I've been under a lot of stress, I think the stress is also triggering the inflammation, because it raises cortisol levels, which is inflammation. And so anytime there's inflammation, you're going to see it in the skin.
You're going to see it in the skin. Exactly. I think that is the number one cause of pretty much all skin conditions in some way or form. Could you elaborate a little bit on inflammation for somebody who is like probably sitting there going, what the hell are you talking about?
Inflammation could be from anything. Hormones can trigger inflammation, stress, food. I feel like gut health is very inflammatory. Like gluten can cause like a lot of inflammation. So it just causes our bodies to feel bloated and puffy. And I think that's another thing that we don't realize is like health conditions such as like a headache or like heartburn or just like tired. That could be from the foods you're eating. And that could just be like your gut getting more and more inflamed. So.
Yep, we don't.
Did I explain that right?
No, you 100% did. I think it's just understanding on such a basic level that it is all of those things. It's like, if I go out for dinner with the girls or my husband, I do love a glass of wine, or my friends know this. If I have one too many, oh my goodness, the next day you just feel it, your skin, it's your puffy, the brain fog, everything. And I think, and that's inflammation. I'm actively choosing to give myself inflammation. I am aware of it. But it's also, and it's part of that's part of my wind down and my time with my friends or my husband. But it's also finding that balance of things that for yourself that are actually going to benefit you in every way, and not just, a social or this or that. You've got to actually think about the long-term effects of things, I think, definitely. And there's so much education out there and jargon that people don't understand, I just love bringing it back down to such simple, this is actually just how it works terms. And I think that's really, I think you're really absolutely nailing that.
Good.
So what would if you could suggest, not the teenagers, because we know this, but to anybody, what would be like your number one skin product or that you couldn't live without?
I mean, I love my oil cleanser. I feel like I can't live without that. It's like the most amazing cleanser I've ever used. And it's like almost every single one of my clients have the oil cleanser if they have like dry skin or dehydrated skin, because it's just an amazing product. So
I love oil cleansers. I love them. They're so luxurious. I just feel like you could sit there for so much time. It actually makes cleansing your face fun.
Yeah.
Which I really love.
It does.
I
know. And I'm always like, I'm like, trust me, you just have to try it. And then they come back, they're like, wow, that was amazing. I'm like, I knew you'd like it.
Exactly. I think there's such a stigma too against oil cleansers. And I know they're becoming more popular now, but especially, and they're so good even for acne clients and oily skin people. And people don't understand this. And it's like, oil cleansers are they're the goat. That's what you want.
Yeah, exactly.
They really are. And what would be your favorite in-clinic treatment to receive and then to perform?
I love the BioRePeel. I just feel like it's it's quick, it's easy. It's one of those, like, you get results right away. Everybody loves it. It's just one of those treatments that it's just, I enjoy doing it.
That's awesome. And does it suit most people, or is everybody? Okay. And what would be like the main sort of, like, would it be aging or acne or pigmentation or everybody?
All of it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And even like, I have a couple clients that are like hypersensitive, like they react to everything, and I've put it on them and done a series and their skin's done really well. So I'm like, wow.
That's amazing.
So, it is.
Yeah. Sensitive skins
But it'll help with like scarring. It helps with wrinkles. It helps with like pigmentation, pore size.
Amazing. That's really, really cool. Everyone wants small pores. I keep trying to tell my friends, I'm like, you need pores though, because your skin needs to breathe. And they're like, I don't want them. I'm like, I know you don't, but that's just called a filter. Like, just put a filter on your photo. That's the only way you're going to not have them.
Yeah,
absolutely. And is that your favorite treatment to receive as well, the BioRePeel?
I like a good facial.
Yeah.
Because I need relaxation.
Yeah. And this is the classic thing. Everyone goes, oh, but you're an esthetician or dermal therapist. You must get facials all the time. I'm like,
nope.
I haven't had one in, I don't know, a couple of years. It's like, oh my God.
I know.
I think you should book yourself in with one.
I know. I'm overdue.
Definitely. And it is, that's part of the cortisol treatment and the stress and even the inflammation, as people don't understand that it just, yes, there's all these incredible technologies, the peels, the needlings, the lasers, whatever it is. But just the actual act of lying on the bed and getting even just a basic signature facial, that the glow you can get because you are being taken care of and you are relaxing and your lymphatic is moving. People, it's just so underrated, just even a basic facial, I think.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
Yeah, me too. More people need to get them.
They do. I agree.
Totally do.
Yeah.
Well, I think that this has been a really, really interesting chat. And I feel like I could just sit here and ask questions for days.
I could too. I know.
But I like to keep it just short enough for people to be interested, so people can listen and understand this on their way to work, on their way to get a facial, hopefully.
Right.
Is there anything else that you would like to impart to anybody, everybody, teenagers, parents, mothers, fathers, about skin? What's one last piece of advice you would like to give?
Yeah. You know what? You mentioned it a few minutes ago when we were talking about the oil cleanser and how anyone with acne can use it. And you and I are raised from that philosophy where it's like, get rid of the oil because the oil is what causes the acne. And it's like, we realize now that there's so many internal factors like food and hormones and all this stuff that causes acne to happen. But it's like, just because the product says acne doesn't mean you should use it on the skin. You know, it's like a lot of those acne products are so drying and dehydrating, and they actually sensitize the skin. So, you know, using like something like oil, it actually normalizes oil. So I just wanted to touch on that point and just kind of reiterate the fact that, you know, you can use all these products on acne skin too, because it's not what you're putting on the skin. It's what's going on
what's
the
going
inside.
on underneath. Absolutely. And again, that comes down to excellent marketing. And
Yes.
I think I say the same thing to so many of my friends, and they're like, do you think you've got oily skin? They go, yeah. And I go, you absolutely do not. And they look at me like I've got 3 heads, and I'm like, no, you are the target market.
Exactly.
So one client at a time, one person at a time, we can teach them that the oils aren't bad. They're actually our friend.
They're not.
They're definitely our friend. And dry, dehydrated, sensitized, cracked, impaired barrier is not your friend.
Right. Exactly.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Samantha. It has been an absolute pleasure. I think you should go.
Thanks for having me.
Check yourself in for a facial. Get one of your staff or someone to do that, and please keep spreading the message, especially the tweens. I really love that you have created Zozo. I think that's just such a special, incredible thing, because we really need that. We need more people to understand. So anybody with a child who is looking at skincare, please, I will link everything in the show notes below and lead them straight to Zozo so that they can get a cleanser and a moisturizer designed for a teenager.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching this episode of Your Glow Code. If you found something helpful, please give us a thumbs up. It really helps the show grow. Don't forget to subscribe for more chats on skincare, the signs of feeling good in your skin, health and wellness. Leave us a comment. We'd love to know your thoughts and what your favorite moment was, and give us a follow on Instagram. See you in the next one.